I want to introduce Dr. Rajiv Kumar once more. Dr. Rajiv Kumar is the man who will now helm the Niti Aayog. He is one of India's foremost economists. He's here defending the case for demonetization. Lots of economists wondering whether demonetization was worth the pain. Lots of Aam Aadmi wondering that as well. And that's because 99% of the currency in circulation is now back. And we haven't counted yet Indian rupees in Nepal and money in the cooperative sector. It could go up even further. I want to introduce all my colleagues who are joining me in this India Today Editors Roundtable, starting with Shweta Punj. She's Senior Editor at India Today Magazine. Rajdeep Sardesai. Anjana Kashyap. Also with us now is Ajit Jha. He's Editor Research for India Today Magazine. Rahul Srivastav is our National Affairs Editor. Anjana wants to ask the next
question. Sir, you're the Vice Chairperson designate right now, but I'm sure you were just a noted economist when you were observing all this. And you just said that why didn't any other finance minister think of a way to curb black money in this country, right? Do you think Narendra Modi is the man who could pull this off in this country? Do you think it would have been very difficult for any other person with a lesser mandate to pull this off? Because ultimately you do realize, probably sitting at the sides at that time, that initially people were angry. There was a surge of anger when people had to leave their work, go and stand in queues, and UP was like a stamp of approval from a huge...
Great question, and I must say that, you know, given that he has done it, he has shown the courage to be able to do so, because it did need a lot of courage. Also, I can assure you that this question has been considered, this issue, many more times before in the past.
No one dared to do it.
No, so what would you then tell someone whom you knew equally well, Dr. Manmohan Singh, who called it organized loot and plunder?
No, but exactly this, that Dr. Manmohan Singh, was the one person, especially when he just got into his second term, basically, you know, on the basis of the first term, who could have pulled off a major coup against, whether in this form or not, but he could have moved
in the first term.
No, in the second term.
Second term.
In the second term, the beginning of the second term, he could have.
But by then the 2G, 3G would.
No, but you know, but
what would you call? So what would you, Dr. Manmohan Singh, sir?
Mr. Kumar, could have been one person who could have acted against black economy and the black currency, and he had the clout. And he had the people behind him.
What held him? What held him? What stopped him, sir? What stopped him?
But Dr. Manmohan Singh has called it organized loot and plunder. What would you tell Dr. Manmohan Singh, who's also a renowned economist, who's also someone who, you know, has moved from economics to politics? Are you saying that Dr. Manmohan Singh is entirely wrong today when he calls it? What would you call a Mr. Chidambaram who says the RBI deserves a Nobel Prize in economics for what they've achieved?
Well, for Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was my role model, I wish he hadn't said that, because I don't think he has empirical evidence to prove what he has said, and that empirical evidence now perhaps stares him in the face. And so I do wish, because I respect him a lot, so I would not say anything more.
Ajit Jha.
About
answering my question, you talked more about Manmohan Singh than Narendra Modi.
No, because, you know, pratyaksham kim pramanam, he has done it. So what more do I need to talk about him?
Okay.
You know,
Ajit
he's
Jha.
the only one to have done so.
Sir.
So you just said a little while ago that the Indian system of banking, especially RBI, is not like the American model.
Yes.
It's more like the Asian model. But
No,
even
no, I did not. Ajit, please correct. I said we keep trying to drive this system towards the Anglo-American model, while there are alternate models which we should consider. But this is lazy economic thinking in this country, which continues to think that the Western models are the only ones to think about.
But sir, even in the other alternative models, the Federal Reserve or its equivalent, which is the Reserve Bank of India, always has relative autonomy.
But the People's Bank of China doesn't. The Bank of Japan doesn't. And they have done very well. Thank you so much. They have done very well, much better than
so
what
China, first of all, is not a democratic country.
But doesn't matter.
We're talking about Japan.
No, now we're talking about relationship between the central bank and the government. The Ministry of Finance of China is the lord and master of financial and economic policy. Bank of Japan is a democracy, you would admit.
Right,
I mean, do you think Kuroda would hold anything against Abe or any of the prime ministers?
But Kuroda is not the big deal, sir.
But Ajit, believe you me, and this is something that I say very consciously, it is time that we thought through our hankering after Anglo-American economic analysis and policies as the only game in town.
I agree with that.
We did that, by the way, we did that in the second five-year plan. Right, and Nehru created a new, Nehru created a completely different trajectory. Right or wrong is a different matter. But the point is that we now need to seriously get down to do this groundwork, hard economic work.
And what are the positive implications of that?
The positive implications are that is one, much greater coherence, much less dissonance, much less sense of purpose, that everybody, all the agencies of the government act towards the same purpose, towards the same objective, whatever that be.
So
I mean,
in
you
another-
can't have-
In which the political executive can ram through a decision, even
So
though
there
there
is
may be
something to be
objections,
said
which is the
about-
worry. I mean, the Raghuram Rajan, there are reports that Raghuram Rajan opposed demonetization,
But
sir,
this
in
was
2016.
This was done, this decision was taken during his time. And the preparations
He
had
was, in
started.
fact, he used to visit each week,
Yes.
Thursday,
Wha-
hold a
what
meeting
is
at
this?
6:30 in
But
Delhi.
he apparently
with Finance Ministry
advised that
No,
even if you have to do demonetization, don't touch the 500 rupee note,
I
because it
don't
is
know
a
where this-
note
I
of
don't-
common exchange.
I don't
in
know
this
where
country.
this comes from. I don't know where this comes from. Just as an aside, I might tell you
Yes.
that the ratio of high denomination, and by the way, 2000 rupee note also falls into that, the ratio of high denomination note to per capita income is the highest in India. The highest rupee note in US is $100 with a per capita income of $34,000. So
In
Raghuram
Japan,
Rajan,
it's 20,000 yen on a single note, as in so the highest
10,000.
denomination.
10,000.
20
Not even.
20,000.
But you see, what I'm saying is, see, this whole notion of RBI versus the government. No, you
So
can
it's
have
not
as-
about RBI
hang on,
versus
hang on,
the
hang on.
government.
Just a
It's-
second. Just a second.
So we're talking about relative autonomy. We're not
Just
talking about
RBI,
versus
Niti
the government.
Aayog, PMO, Ministry of Finance, all are part of the same team. They can argue till they're blue in the face before a decision is taken, and they should. But after that,
But
everybody
sir,
puts in the
economists
same
would
direction.
say that this is a decision that the RBI should have
Why?
taken
Why?
because
currency
they have to
is a
do.
matter that is, currency issues are always handled in the North Bloc.
So the
There
administrative
is a joint
aspect of
secretary-
it,
there is a
on
joint-
which
There is-
the
there is a joint
success of
secretary.
Let me
RBI does monetary policy, not currency policy.
Let me just slightly change the.
Well, let's get it right.
In yesterday's press conference, the finance minister has also spoken about now the next big step, which is going to be tackling black money that comes through political funding. And I found it interesting that he said that because it comes a week after the ADR report says the BJP is the party which has received the maximum amount of funding in cash over the last 5 years. So I'm just wondering whether the government is talking the good talk, but will it actually walk the talk? Do you actually believe, and Niti Aayog will possibly have a role to play in this, that there can be a way to actually tackle the real source
You
of
seriously-
black money, which is election funding in this country?
Very good question and a very good statement, but you seriously expect me to answer that?
No, I seriously want to know, do you believe in this country
Rajiv.
we can really strike at the source of black money, which is electoral funding?
Absolutely, I believe that, and I will, if I may say so, that there are many of us, I'm not yet there, but there are many of us part of the government who do believe that that political, if there is corruption in political funding, we must put an end to it. Because that is at the base of, as you said, a lot of ills.
Yes.
So
And
one
all of us-
question.
and I therefore would take.
Rahul.
So you really believe that will happen?
Rajiv, I'll ask you a question
Yeah,
here.
I'll ask
You know, I'll ask you a question which is economic and you can answer.
I've answered all.
You see, right now the situation is like this glass. There is half water in it, 4 or 5, 200 milliliter in a 400 milliliter glass. Opposition will say it's empty, government will say it's full. The point is somewhere half filled. Now, as somebody who is going to make nitis from tomorrow onwards, will you recommend that the government, instead of a big exercise like demonetization, given the tangible benefits which have accrued from it, will you recommend that it has to be done steadily, regularly, if you want to make a strong dent against black money? Because it cannot be a one-off exercise. You see what has happened.
Yeah.
Will you recommend in future a slightly more calibrated exercise in a smaller measure to keep controlling black money?
I have a three-part answer, but before that, a little caveat. I'm not going to be making nitis. The government will be making nitis. I'll give an input to it. Probably, hopefully a modest input, more than a modest input. So that's the first.
That's modesty.
Second one.
So
On
your
the-
modesty personified.
No, you don't want to take the risk of your
Yeah.
predecessors, I fear.
Just on the eve of
The
joining.
second one.
I get a
Second one.
sense
Being
you
extra cautious.
don't want to go for major reform, you prefer incremental reform, because in the past anyone
I
who's
was
tried
just-
major
I was just
reform
going
in
to-
government,
I
was
want
going-
lessons
I was just
from
going
the
to say that
lessons
to
learned.
Rajesh, that
Yes.
so far the charge has been on the government that it's gone for incrementalism
Yes.
and not for bold structural reform. Now you're recommending that we do calibrated
Yeah,
and
it has
incrementalism.
to.
So please let us make up our mind what we want this government to do.
do the right
So-
things.
so-
Do the right
Oh,
things.
hello, that's
It's not
not
about
right.
democratic
incremental
is no.
that sounds-
I
do
can
the
disagree
right
with
thing.
That
Raji.
sounds almost like a dialogue from Friends. but you know,
Do
just
you
a second.
believe that they should be done?
I want to give you a serious
Calibrated
answer.
strikes.
You know, a lot of people had said it's not about stocks, it's about flows.
Yes.
And I had responded to them saying that the swamp was so full that you had to drain it before you stopped the taps flowing into it with pure water, because the swamp was so dirty that unless you did that, the pure water, the clean water always got polluted and, you know, and dirty beyond belief. That swamp has now been cleaned, has been drained.
The stock itself.
And now the stock. That's the big thing that demonetization has done. And now the time, of course, is for the government to take care of the flows. That no more flows of black incomes will be permitted in this economy. And that is where the political funding
It does.
comes in.
Because otherwise I
that's
wonder
where
whether the BJP had a money advantage in UP and that's why the timing was November of
no,
2016.
No, that's not true. That's not true. You see, this is what Mr. Chidambaram
No, this is not we are expecting you to answer. Rajiv, we are not expecting you to answer this question. We have telephonic conversations clandestinely recorded of Mayawati in which she is asking people that please, the people who had promised money before election haven't given it, please give it back. So it is a political fact. So we are not
And
asking you
across
political
parties.
questions, we are
Across
asking
parties.
the economic part. That do you think that somewhere in future, as you're saying the flows, even in the flows, you have 50% volume of 2,000 rupee notes? Don't you think it's a crisis? The amount of digital payments are going down.
It's not a crisis, sir.
It is. Digital payments are going down.
You know, but there's also a report that a lot of 2,000 rupee notes are not coming back into circulation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hang
so
on, but
that's
that-
the concern.
But
Yes.
you see, but therefore, this is the time for the RBI and the government to act together, to take a considered view as to what they want to do with
Niti
this
Aayog.
economic
So
economy.
Niti
fundamentally,
Aayog. What will
we
Niti
should-
Aayog do?
So
Niti Aayog, I can say this, you know, well, maybe I shouldn't, but Niti Aayog is on the side, as I said, the ratio of bringing down the ratio of high denomination to per capita income to normal global benchmarks and not be very high above that.
So fundamentally, demonetization ideally means that you withdraw high value currency, right? But we went ahead and we withdrew 1,000 rupee notes and introduced 2,000 rupee notes, which totally does away with the basic principle of demonetization.
Shweta, the fundamental purpose of demonetization was to get at the illegal incomes and the illegal cash, not incomes even, in the economy. It was not about high or low denomination. The fact that
So
We should have started with the politicians and political funding instead of hitting the poor Aam Admi and the SMEs
but-
who are
but-
looking to
but
change,
that-
who are the engine of this economy.
Right,
So, but what is the
I
logic?
about the flows, and I was at pains to tell you that the swamp had to be drained. You just completely
And to
ignored
add-
it.
Can you please
to
explain
add
the
to
logic
Rajiv's
of
question,
replacing-
the
just one
timing,
second,
the
Ajit.
timing of the
Ajit, just one
demonetization was right before the Uttar Pradesh elections, which was seen by a lot of people as trying to dry up the source of funding of alternative parties, and at the same time, you know, the ruling party, which gets apparently formal funding, ends up getting the advantage.
Show, please get the spokespersons of all the political parties.
So so can you explain the economic logic of replacing a 1,000 rupee note with a 2,000 rupee note? What is the logic?
There was not an economic logic. Even the governor, I think, will agree that it was a logic of expediency and meeting an emergency.
So are we going to withdraw the 2,000 rupee
I
notes now?
can't. How can you really want me to answer that?
Okay, the RBI annual report says...
I better take out all those 2,000 rupee notes that I have and put them back in the
Put them
bank.
right here. So make the swamp pink now.
One last.
Yes.
See, RBI annual report says this data is conditional. When are we going to see the final data out?
RBI.
So we don't know yet. It could actually, more money could have come back into the system
I can
than...
give you the phone numbers.
As a member of the board of directors, do you believe that those numbers could have come out much earlier? In December itself, you knew that 13 lakh crores had come. Why was it repeatedly delayed? Was there a political reason for it? You're a member of the board of directors. Did the RBI need 9 months or 8 months to count the money?
They said they did, and we believed them.
They have to buy
Apparently,
machines,
they still
new
haven't
counting
counted the
machines.
entire money. These are mere
They have to buy
estimates.
new
sir.
counting machines.
That's what, it's conditional.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
mere
even know.
estimates rather than.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll thank Dr. Rajiv Kumar for joining us.
Thank you.
You're a good boxer, good fighter.
That's a great compliment.
I hope we made you sweat just a bit, because this is one of the big debates at this time. Was demonetization worth the pain? And I'm glad that you were able to put out some context about what those in government feel about why demonetization is a success. And in the end, every viewer, every voter will judge for himself. Thank you very much. We wish you all the best for your new innings in the Niti Aayog, and we hope to have you back
All the very best.
in the India
and
Today
also
Editors
promise that we'll
Roundtable.
have access to you once you join tomorrow.
God promise.
Best wishes.
Thank
sir.
you so much, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. joining us here in the India Today Editors Roundtable. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as well. A free-flowing exchange of ideas and no one idea being thrust down our editors or our viewers. And that's the whole idea. That's the DNA of the way the India Today newsroom is structured. We hope to do a lot more of this. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're slipping into a break. We'll have more for you when we come back on this.